What's up, y'all? I'm back out here on the range on a beautiful sunny morning. Temperatures right now in the high 50s, right about 60 degrees. We're only supposed to hit about the mid 70s by the time I'm going out of here, so it should be an absolute perfect day to do some testing. I've got us a few good ones planned, and we're gonna start things out with what I'm hoping is some hot rod 10 mil. So the jelly contraption's clocked in, ready to go with a couple of chronos and 2 fresh blocks of gel. First test of the day, so you get that nice clear picture of what happens. I've got the heavy clothing barrier up front, of course, with the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And what we got for this one is some 10 mil that was sent to me by one of y'all out there, so I really appreciate that. We're looking at the DoubleTap 125 grain solid copper HP. Now, as you might can see, they're claiming 1600. It says 5-inch here, but on their site, it specifically says G20. That would give you 710 foot-pounds of energy if we got that, so that's really, really nice if we see that. They also give you the ballistics from a G29 of 1501, so really nice to see another one out there giving you real world ballistics. Now, they are making some pretty bold claims about this stuff on their site, in particular the line about this is perhaps the best personal defense load in existence. I mean, that's some seriously bold claims right there. So we'll see whether or not they can back that up. Here's a look at your cartridge, brass case with that solid copper HP, expanding HP. Now, they're saying you're supposed to get very nice expansion and 100% weight retention. So even at those speeds, they're claiming no kind of fragmentation of the pedals here. As far as the thickness of the walls of this HP, I mean, I could see this staying together, but it's going to be tricky at those kind of velocities. Now, I'm going to be using the usual to test with out here, and just coincidentally, they list the velocities from both of these. For the shorty, we've got my personal EDC, the G29 here with the 3.8-inch barrel, and then for the longer one, we've got the G20 here with the 4.6-inch. So hopefully this stuff right here will start out the day with some nice spicy performance. Let's get everything set up and see what they can do. All right, let's see what these little spicy lightweights can actually do. I'm gonna do a 5-round average from each one of them, starting with this 29. Now remember, their date on the 29 says an average of 1501, so be nice to see that. You will see multiple readings from this radar. Your large numbers right here at the muzzle, and then you've got 5 more across the bottom. The first one there is set for 3 yards, which is roughly where I've got the gel here at 10 feet, and then the others are set for 10, 15, 25, and 50 yards. So 1501, that's what I'm looking for here. Hopefully we'll see at least that, maybe a little hair over that. Woo, they got some bark to them, buddy. 1473. Yeah, they talking out here. 1478. 1462. 1479. Shoo, they are talking down through them hills. And 1476, let's check out the average. All right, we didn't quite get that 1501 they were claiming. We had a 5-round average of 1,474 feet per second. Extreme spread was 17 with a standard deviation of 7.1, so very nice consistency. 1471 when they're claiming 1501. I mean, I'm sure we're in different environments, not making any kind of excuses. Y'all know I'm gonna hold it accountable, but that is also basically within the extreme spread. So I guess long story short, what I'm trying to get at is I can totally believe it would see 1501 under different circumstances. So far, not bad. Let's get everything reset and see what the G20 does. All right, let's see what this G20 does. Now, remember, they're saying 1600 on this based on the fact that we fell a little short of what they were saying on the 29. I guess we're going to fall a little short here too, but not that we're doing bad at all. Again, I mean, we're probably right over 600 pounds already with the 29, so I ain't mad at anything so far. Let's see what we get out of this 20. 1568. 1589. I was gonna say that first one was a little short. 1564. 1550. And 1556, so once again, a little bit shorter than what they're claiming. Let's check out the average. All right, once again, we didn't quite meet what they were saying on the box, but we come fairly close. Our 5-round average that time was 1,566 feet per second. We had a we had an extreme spread of 39 with a 15.0 standard deviation. So once again, I mean, especially we had a high right there, 1589. We're well within the extreme spread and well easily within that being than reality is getting, as far as getting 1600 under different circumstances, temperature, humidity, elevation, all that jazz. So long story short, I can't be mad at this again, because even though it didn't quite hit what the box said for me out here, you're still, I mean, that's got to be knocking on the door of 700 foot-pounds almost, high 600s for sure. I'll have to do the math. So I definitely can't be mad at this. 1566, and if y'all remember out to 29, it was 1474. So you talking about what, almost 192 FPS difference between these two. So pretty significant difference if you ask me. All that being said, these copper projectiles, when they do perform well, pretty much across the board, they give you very similar performance between barrel lengths. So I'm looking for these to do the same thing. Hopefully that same thing is staying completely together and giving us some good performance. But let's get this stuff reset. Y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it ain't bragging if you back it up jelly time. I'm gonna put one from each barrel into the gel, starting with this 29 first. I don't have much doubt that both of these are gonna give us some good performance. I'm just really curious to see exactly what that good performance is gonna look like. All right, I'm sure we got a good one. Let me go see what we got. All right, y'all, so far it's looking like it can cash the check, if you know what I mean. So this stuff right here, I'm sure is gonna do just every bit as good, and it's probably gonna look very, very similar, but let's see what it does. What it did was go out the top. Let me reset it. All right, y'all, I done left myself with a tricky situation to deal with down here now, but hopefully I can get lucky here and kind of keep these things separated. If not, we'll send another one. I think that was absolutely perfect. That was the only chance I had, and I think I made it count. Let me go see what I got. All right, let's check out what we got down here, y'all. Is this truly the best personal defense round in existence? That's gonna be subjective, but I can tell you this for a fact. This stuff right here is definitely up high on the list because it did a beautiful job. These things are right where you wanna see them as far as nice 10 mil power. Performance in the gel looks absolutely fantastic, and it looks like they absolutely backed up all their claims. So one by one here, down at the very bottom, that's actually the first one through the G29. These look really, really similar, which I pretty much guess they would. You can see it comes in here, immediate expansion, immediate, very nice transfer of energy. You got that super nice spiral looking action going all the way through its travel, keeps on trucking through here. Probably, I'm gonna say about 3 inches shy of the end of this first block, and it looks like you've got some fantastic expansion. And then up above that, of course, the first one at the very top, that's the one that skipped out the top, but you can tell it would have looked exactly like this. From here to where it went out, it looks exactly like this one. So looking at this one here, that was the next one, both of these from the G20. Once again, absolutely beautiful transfer of energy right here. Very, very nice spiral and disruption. Once again, keeps on trucking through this block. Now this one goes 1.5 inches to 2 inches further. It's actually only about 2 inches from the end of this first block, and once again looks like phenomenal expansion. Looking at the distance on them, the one from the G29 down there at the bottom is at 13.75 inches, so absolutely beautiful right there. And then the one up top from the 20 is at 15.25. So both of these things, in my opinion, absolutely fantastic job. And here's your closer look at them. You're looking at clones right there. I mean, they are so similar. Very, very nice, all of them. Just incredibly nice transfer of energy all the way through their travel. That one right there from the 29, and then once again a little bit further there, you can see them right from the side here. Boom, there's your 20. Looking from the top on this one's gonna be pretty tricky, but it's basically the same. From any angle you look at these things, you're looking at basically the same performance. Again, now this one actually this time is from the 20. I'll take you right straight from above, and then there's your 29. All right, let's check out these projectiles, y'all. More incredibly impressive looking stuff right here. This one is from the 29, this one is from the 20. You can see some differences in them. Now, it's hard to see without being here, I know, but if you kind of look at the side there, this 29 versus the 20, you can see how far down the petals are peeled, and it's going to be a smaller ending size actually from this 20 because the extra velocity peeled them back, and that's why you got a little bit of extra distance. So I guess it just kind of depends on what you prefer here. Basically the same result, so it really is a moot point with this one. Long story short, y'all can see here, this is a fantastic job to get these projectiles to stay together like this. I really had my doubts when they claimed 100% retention, but just because of the massive energy, the massive instant transfer like that. Usually, unless they're incredibly thick petals, you lose one or two when you start to get to those kinds of velocities. But as y'all can see, I mean, these things don't look like they were in much danger at all. This 20, I mean, you started to have a couple little fractures, but I think you were still well within the safe zone for retention. Another quick look at the back side of them here. So once again, just very, very impressive stuff. So let's weigh them up and see what that's looking like. They're supposed to be 125 grains. This one is at 125.4, so absolutely nothing lost, obviously. And this one is at 125.6, so both of them absolutely nothing lost and right where they're supposed to be. And then as far as your sizes, we'll start with this 29. Now again, this is probably going to be just a hair bigger. You got 737 and 756, so just absolutely incredibly nice expansion right there. And then this one from the 20, now if we take where most of them are, you're at about 686 right there, but then you know you've got this big one here. If you wanted to include that, then you're bigger than the other. You're at like 0.80 right there, but for the most part, again, you're about 692 on that. Just a hair difference, but that's completely negligible because both of these things right here would definitely get the job done. So there you go, y'all, the DoubleTap 10 mil 125 grain solid copper expander. This is a fantastic defensive round in my opinion. Now, I will say, generally speaking, y'all know I like a little more weight when it comes to 10 mil. I like something that I can be assured is going to get pretty much every job done at the same time. But in this case right here, you're still talking about 125 grains. I would have personally absolutely zero problem carrying this stuff right here. Am I going to go swapping out my Buffalo Bore 180 lead stuff? No, but if this is what I had, I would not feel underpowered in the slightest, not in any way. And again, if this is what I could get at a good deal or whatever, I would not hesitate picking this stuff up. All right, y'all, I'm gonna wrap it up right there for some absolutely fantastic 10 mil performance to start the day. Once again, I think this is some great performance out of these rounds. Really, you could put these up in the top 5 easily, maybe even top 3, top 2, maybe even an argument to put it as your #1 pick for 10 mil defensive rounds, just depending on what your preference is. Now, me personally, again, I still want a little bit more weight. I'm just hung up on it. It may be for no reason. It may not be valid why I'm wanting it, but that's just how it is, and that's just how I'm going to be. But again, I would have absolutely no problem at all running this stuff right here. To me, like I just said, it's top 5 easily with the Buffalo Bore 180, the Underwood 155. Now these right here, your Grizzlies 180s or 200s. This is some very, very nice stuff. I do believe I've run their 155 version of this also. It may have been a while. It seems like it did really well too, but maybe just a little weak as far as 10 mil is concerned. But as far as performance in the gel, if I remember right, it did do a good job. But these things right here, I mean, they've got very, very respectable performance for 10 mil as far as power, and fantastic in the gel. But let me know down in the comments what y'all think about it, especially those of y'all that might actually carry 10 mil. What do you think about the performance out of these right here? Would you carry these over some of the little bit heavier rounds like the 155s or the 180? Would it really matter to you? Where would you rank these on your top 5 list of 10 mil rounds? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. A quick reminder, like always, if you're doing any kind of shopping, make sure you check out those affiliate links in the video description. Anything you pick up after hitting those links helps out the channel, so I really appreciate that. Big thanks once again to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. I've got a couple more really good ones planned for out here today, so make sure you stay on the lookout. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.